Hey everybody, good morning. It is Thursday, February 19th. What day is it? How's everybody doing? I have a few things from my journal app from recent meditations that I wanted to report over to you today. Very quickly first, how are you doing? That Aquarius new moon on Monday, Tuesday, Tuesday. I do understand it was an eclipse. It was only an eclipse in a very small portion of the world. But it was a new moon on steroids for the rest of us. And I was like wildly energetically charged, and felt I kept getting up and walking into the kitchen and standing there and going, what am I doing here? It was just, I had a lot of charge. My dogs were charged. Other people I talked to said that like their kids were like that. They've had other family members like that. It was just kind of a wild one for me. So let me know how you're all doing. I'm actually significantly less charged today for some reason, but I understand we're also moving into that exact conjunction for tomorrow with Saturn Neptune at 0 of Aries. That's bringing some very, very, very interesting initiating energy, and we have some interesting news already this morning. So a couple things in my journal app from, I went and checked for the dates, February 5th. I had a meditation. Two things came in. The first one was what looked to me like either like a race car or like a really sporty kind of looking sports car. And it felt like a good news scenario. Started out looking very scary. It was like demolished kind of crash. However, it was like the way that I wrote it in my app was the way it presented, that somebody gets pulled from the wreckage virtually unscathed in comparison to what the crash looks like. So it actually, looked bad and scary, turned out to actually be much better news than what would be expected. So I don't know that it necessarily was absolutely a race car on a racetrack, but it had that kind of like look, like race car, sports car kind of thing. So check for something like that in the news. Also on February 5th. So I'm going to try to describe the way that this came in exactly too. The first thing that I heard were the words plans and blueprints. And that repeated over and over again, plans and blueprints, plans and blueprints. And I was like, what does that even mean? And then I saw who I'm going to use code language here to be a little safe, who I interpreted, because it was like an image, but with a sensing, I interpreted to be, I believe, Gulsey Tabard. I'm going to say it that way just to be safe. And it was almost like she had like placed a bunch of, the way that I saw it was her hand was like on the wall with a bunch of papers and documents like strewn along the wall. She had her hand on some that felt like she had put them up there with her hand and was holding them against it. I could see things that looked like curved lines. But there were other documents that didn't look like blueprinty kind of, that was the blueprint part. It almost looked like drawn or sketched curved lines on graph type paper, but there were other types of papers that were just more, documents, plans, whatever this was. There was a sensing around it of like a quid pro quo that was like, you provide us with plans and blueprints and we'll provide you with X. I didn't get a really good solid what the X factor was that was being traded. The plans and blueprints part for me felt defense related, potentially like designs or blueprints that were related to, like the military style giant pew-pew-ish type of, I don't want to say words that might get flagged. So I wanted to just put that out there, that it felt as though we may eventually see that something like that went down. Then the last one that I want to tell you about was in my journal app from my meditation on February 11th. Let me read my notes again. Hold on. Okay. I wanted to see how I wrote it down. This was more of just sensing. There was not really any visual or anything with it. It was more of just sensing. It feels as though there's an announcement or a public reporting of some sort from another country. Did not get really solidly who this may be. Another country that causes 45, 47 to essentially feel double-crossed. Double-crossed was very strongly how it came in. Kind of betrayed, double-crossed. You went behind my back. How could you do this? Almost like he's taking it. It's not good news for him and or administration and or U.S. Makes him look bad in his eyes. How could you double cross me? How could you betray me this way? Almost as if he's feeling like it's a personal attack, that this other country is like, here's public information, or here's information to the public. Makes me wonder if it has to do with JE stuff. But I did not solidly get that. I'll say that too. And there was like a secondary cautionary sense to it that even though they provide this publicly and report on it publicly, it's not that what they're providing is untrue, but they're providing it in a way, of course, that makes them look better, him look worse. It's like partial truth. You know, we're going to tell you the story from our perspective that makes someone else look bad, but not the part that we might play in it, or, you know, something to that effect. So something where it's like, it's partial truth. You can take what they present as truth, but it's not the entirety of the truth. We'll say it that way. So I think that's all I have for you today. I just wanted to provide that because that was something that I kind of sat with to really feel like nothing. On occasion, if I get something and I'm not 100% certain that, you know, I don't have any ego in it, you know, was I thinking anything that could have caused it or anything, I just sit with it for a little while to make sure, because when that is the case, then I eventually feel it kind of backing up. And this felt like, nope, this is what came through and how it came through, and it's okay. So I'll leave you with that. Let me know how you're doing. I hope everybody's well. Tomorrow, very interesting energy. I guess I want to also say that while that is the exact conjunction of something that literally the world has not experienced in probably thousands of years, it looks like, for the exact way that it's occurring, we may see things very highly related to that occur tomorrow, possibly, but remember that this is energy that is going to ring out and play out for a long time. So if there's not something really, really blatantly obvious, that doesn't mean that it's not setting the stage for, this is like beginnings. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's spring, so it's brand new renewal. It's the 0 degree point, so it's literally the very first degree in the entirety of the zodiac chart for the entire world. So this is not just like us here in the US, just because that's where I'm at based. This is worldly, this is globally, universe, like the whole thing. So it's a long cycle to play out, but you know, it's kind of like smashing the symbols together for that moment tomorrow. Next week is, it's wild. There's something that just feels like just we're moving with lots of information and lots of energy. So stay grounded, stay centered, go back to my healing playlist for a couple ways to kind of keep your system regulated when you need it. So we'll talk soon.